Hey everybody, this is Brian. Welcome to Chiller Night Live. We're from 8 p.m. Eastern Time until 9 o'clock. We'll talk about horror, science fiction, paranormal, all kinds of that stuff. You pick the topic and we'll make a show out of it. So Stephanie's right out the gate. Hey y'all, she says. Hey Stephanie, thanks for joining us. How was your week? I hope your week was good. All right. I am back. I am back. I was not here last Tuesday night, as you may have noticed. I certainly did. I took a week off from my regular job so that I could work on this year's haunted house, Jack Shadow's House of Terror. So, oh, there's my baby, giving some hearts there and saying hello to everybody. So, Ava's on Facebook, and Al just showed up. He's on YouTube. Hi everyone, he says. Hey Al, thanks for joining us. As I was there last week, working away on Jack Shadow's House of Terror, I got a phone call. I got a phone call from PBR Street Gang. And just wanted to let me know that he and some others were in a chat. I'm not sure who the others were. It sounded like there were others from our viewers. So if you were in on that chat, let me know who you were, and I thank you for that. But I thought that was nice. I thought that was very nice of him to do that. Called the business line there, for the store. So that was really cool. D says, "Good evening, everyone." Hey D, thanks for joining us. Stephanie says, "Definitely good. How was everyone's Friday the 13th, Saturday the 14th, and Father's Day?" Mine was pretty good. I mean, I was just, like I said, I was working on the haunted house, and then Friday and Saturday, I just manned the counter at the store, and that was about it. So, kind of had our going out Father's Day event. So, had a good week. A little tired, but that's okay. A lot of work. Got a lot of work done. So, but I am glad to be back. And like I said, I think Paul says, "Hi family, how's everyone doing today? How is Ava?" And we are doing okay here. All right, sounds good. Thank you, Paul, for joining us. Glad to hear you're doing fine. Ava's doing well. I think she's on Facebook right now. That's where I saw her last. So she won't be able to see your post, but Ava, Paul is asking about you, and he's hoping you're doing well. But yeah, I thought that was really nice of PVR Street Gang to call me last week. Just let me know that he was thinking of me. And Bonin says, "Welcome back," and hey, hello, Chiller Night crew, Brian and Miss Ava. Hope everyone is doing great. Missed last week, but yins are back here tonight. Heck yeah, we are. And we don't have a topic. We don't have a pre-selected topic, but you know how that goes. You give me stuff, just stuff, and we'll make a show out of it. Good stuff back. Now, one thing, I will say, Roger said, "Hello, good evening." Hey, Roger, thanks for joining us. Ava and I, just the other night, we watched Pet Sematary Bloodlines. It's a new Pet Sematary movie that just came out. It takes place in 1960, either 67 or 69, somewhere. I think it's 1969. The story takes place, so it goes back a little ways in time, like we typically do here on Chiller Night Live. A little trip down memory lane. That's kind of what they did with Pet Sematary, and so that was pretty cool. I didn't mind that. I thought I didn't think it was a bad movie at all. So we actually enjoyed it. I can't say that too often anymore, it seems, but I did like it, so I can't complain. Ava seemed to like it as well. John says, "It's another Tuesday night and time again for another hour of the best in horror and fantasy. It's time for Chiller Night Live. This is Crozak the Grand. And now here's what you've been waiting for. And after a week off, looking fresh and ready, here's Bryan Hogue." Well, thank you, Crozak the Grand and John. So, Yes, after a week off, I am back. Nice to be back. Stephanie says anthology movies and TV shows. Well, there you go. We almost watched one the other night. I for the life of me, I can't remember what it was, but it was an anthology movie. You can just bring that up. So, um, good topic. Good topic. Tracy says hello, sir. Hey, Tracy. Thanks for joining us. Paul says, Pony Bob, how is my sidekick doing? Jaws 50 years anniversary is on NBC Friday night. Oh yeah, that's right. Jaws 50 years. That's kind of hard to believe. 50 years. I remember seeing that. I remember when that first came out. That's, time is just going way too quick, and I don't know what to make of that. I've got mixed feelings. Bonin says, well, soon as the chiller chat room is over tonight, I got to hurry up and change the channel to watch Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Go Florida Panthers. If they win tonight, the cup is theirs again. All right. Well, who's playing? I have no idea, Bonin. I have not followed that. So, so you're rooting for the Florida Panthers. All right. Jason says, good evening, my fellow ghouls, and to our fearless and ghoulish leader, the great one, Bryan Hogue. Oh, thank you, good sir. Good to see you here tonight. Welcome, welcome. Much appreciated. SBC says, Trilogy of Horror. Zuni Fetish Doll. Yeah, there's an anthology movie for you. That's a good one, SBC. Getting a little bit of an echo, and I wonder what would happen if I unplug this headset here. I'm going to try it. I think I am. All right, testing, 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 testing. Can you still hear me? Hopefully you can still hear me. On here it's showing that you can hear me, but the real test is whether you can hear me. Paul says, makes you feel old, right? Yeah, it does. I mean, and in Star Wars is like, what, 40, almost like 48 or something like that? I mean, oh, man. But it says Florida Panthers versus Edmonton Oilers. It's a rematch of last year's Stanley Cup Final. Oh. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right. SBC says, working. I can hear you, Stephanie says. Tracy says, hello to everyone. Hey, Tracy. I wonder, though, if I do the opening, whether you can hear that. I don't know why that was an issue a couple weeks ago. Give me a few seconds here. Could you hear that? I couldn't, but that's okay if I can't. It's you know, it's what you guys are able to hear that's important. Raymond says, Brian, Bonehead SBC. Hey, Raymond, thanks for joining us. Let's see. Yes. Hey, SBC, Tracy Lee, and the whole gang, Bonehead says. Yes, indeed. So did anybody else see Pet Sematary Bloodlines? I mean, like I said, Ava and I watched that the other night. We enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't mind that at all. I wasn't sure. I thought, is this going to be like one of those, like, Children of the Corn Part 7s or something like that? But no, it was very entertaining. I enjoyed it. So, Bonin says, I'm wishing my Pittsburgh Penguins were playing the Cup. Yeah, I heard it fine. Awesome, Bonehead. Thank you. Stephanie says, yep. All right. Tracy says, started my rider mower. Yippee. Oh, yeah. I'm glad it started up for you. Good. That always helps. If it's like around here, you might need a little like flotation devices to keep it from sinking in all the water and the rain. Let's see. All right, everyone's saying hello to each other. Cool. Chiller Night Theater. It's the reason we all came here to begin with. In the beginning, there was Chiller Night Theater. Well, actually, in the beginning, there was Sleepy Hollow Theater. And then in 2015, we're now Chiller Night Theater. So every Saturday night, folks, every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Stream TV, you can see right here. You go to streammedia.tv. Streammedia.tv every Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You watch 4 episodes of Chiller Night Theater back to back. There's no waiting in between. 4 back to back. So roll on into Sunday morning watching Chiller Night Theater. Hosted by, of course, Jack Shadow, or occasionally myself toward the end there. I stood in for the man, the myth, the legend, Jack Shadow. So, check it out. And also, I'll be trying, give it a good honest effort to get you fine, frightening folks, you chiller maniacs, some more Chiller Night Theater episodes. I'll be honest with you, it won't be like early summer or anything. In fact, it'll be on the tail end of things. It'll be, if all goes right, we'll begin airing them on the first Saturday of September. And then they'll just go on into all of September, all of October, and probably the first Saturday of November with all new episodes. So, not seen yet. Saw the original back then, SBC says. Oh, yeah. That was good. I remember that one. But it says, speaking of rain, we had a couple little bad thunderstorms down here in Corpus Christi. Oh, yeah? Well, I got kind of stuck driving in it today, and I had to drive to Franklin for something, a little meeting after work, and it was crazy. The rain was just like, I don't know, at times it was like there was nothing, and then boom, you just hit a downpour, and it was like that for like 30 miles, you know. It was crazy. So I could barely see. PBR says Chiller Night Theater is the best theater. Oh, thank you, PBR. I mentioned PBR. I already mentioned. I mentioned that how and I'm getting my little. Oh, they're not claps. What am I thinking? They're waves. See, I miss 1 week, and that's what happens. It throws me off completely. But you had called me last week. To just to let me know that you and others were thinking of me. So I thought that was very nice. I actually mentioned that at the beginning of the episode tonight. So much appreciated. Like I told you on the phone, that really made my night. But it says, Tracy Lee, I know how much fun you can have riding a mower. Man, that's a grand way to cut the grass, especially if you got a cup holder. Got that right. PBR says, are you starting Chiller Night Theater again? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm going to try to feature new episodes starting in September, first Saturday of September, on into all of September, all of October, and probably at least the first Saturday of November. So a pretty good stretch there. At least a good solid 9 episodes I would like to do. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Al says, I wanted to kill my childhood last week. I saw both Winnie the Pooh, Blood Honey, and Popeye's Revenge. Oh, no. Is Popeye's Revenge, is that the same as Popeye the Slayer Man? Is that the same thing? I haven't seen either of those. Ona says, I drove through some microburst rainstorms whenever I drove trucks. Sometimes they were really wicked. Oh, those microbursts are wicked. Yeah, they are crazy. Tracy says it's 60 there. 61 in June 2025, huh? Yeah, Ava and I were just talking about that, how, like last year in May, you know, we were in the swimming pool. But now, well, you know, you're experiencing this summer. you know, we might get 10 minutes of no rain, and then it comes back, and then it just might be, yeah, 60 degrees out. Yeah. Oh well. Paul says you have to show Manos as the first movie, please. Oh, Paul. I got to show movie. No, I tell you what I am going to show is movies that we haven't ever played yet on Chiller Night Theater. All right, so that's my that'll be my first priority. So, but I know you love Manos, The Hands of Fate, and but yeah, we're gonna try to go with some movies we haven't actually played yet. Patrick says, "Hey, Patrick, thanks for joining us. Good to see you on here." Brian, hello there. I'm trying to think of the name of the old horror movie I watched when I was young. All I remember about it is a nurse starts a new job in a mental hospital. It turns out that the patients have killed the doctors and are pretending to be doctors. Ah, okay. I also remember there was one character who was a large African American and liked to eat popsicles all the time. Just wondering if you have any idea the name of this movie. Wow, Patrick, I can't think of it. How about you guys? Can anybody help Patrick out with that? Sounds like a neat idea. Pretty cool synopsis there for a horror movie. Bonin says, I actually saw Popeye the Slayer Man. Oh, that wasn't good. Now, was that different than Popeye's Revenge? Or are they the same one? Just like Popeye the Slayer Man, Popeye's Revenge, you know, something like that. Is it the same thing? Or Al says, or SBC says, I did not know that Popeye's Revenge existed. Yeah, I haven't heard that one. That's a new one. But it says, I'm slow, really slow, but not too steady anymore, LOL. Tracy says, Santa Sleigh. Santa Sleigh. SBC says, Manos. That hurts, darn it, Paul says. Don't Look in the Basement is the movie. Is it, Bonin? Is that the one Patrick was talking about? Don't Look in the Basement? Tracy says Blood Snow. Stephanie says Don't Look in the Basement. Dee says Don't Look in the Basement. Bonin says Patrick, Don't Look in the Basement of the movie, I believe. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I knew somebody would know it, and a lot of you did. Wow, that's cool. Well, there you go. Patrick, if you ever have any questions about anything horror, science fiction, paranormal stuff, you've come to the right place. Because if I can't answer it, I guarantee somebody out here will. So, that's really cool. Some true horror movie fans we have. That I can say. Brad says, my wife and I went to Corey Fest this weekend. They had food, games, and fireworks. Awesome. But not as awesome. Here we go. Is when the 1931 horror film is Dracula Frankenstein coming to public domain in 2027. Yes. Yes. Well, I hope that you, it sounds like you really enjoyed Corey Fest, so I'm glad you had a good time, but not as good of a time as, no. Here we go. Tracy says, naughty or nice. What's that? Is that a anthology movie, or is that just a horror movie that you liked and you wanted to share the title with us? Brad says January of 2027. Yeah, specifically in January of 2027. Nice. SBC says, I somehow remember the movie, but not the name. I think that was it, though. It seems like a bunch of people got that. Patrick says, thank you, everyone. Yes, thank you, guys. Paul says, people under the stairs. Thinking about that. Well, people under the stairs, I've seen that one, but I can't remember anything about it. I just remember I recognize the title, and I'm aware that I've seen it, but that's about as far as it goes. Brad's here. Howdy, buddy, Bonin says. PBR says, have you thought of doing TV show for Chiller Night Theater? Kolchak is a damn good show from my way back in the day. I wish I could, oh my gosh, I wish I could play the Night Stalker, Kolchak. uh, stuff there, but I can't, unfortunately, because those are not in the public domain. I'll tell you, stuff like that is really touchy. I mean, even this week, I got 4 notifications. Well, I got 4, but I must have at least 2 of my emails hooked up to YouTube. But they took off. They took the brain that wouldn't die off, saying that it is not public domain. It has been for many years, but unfortunately, it is. YouTube is saying it is not public domain anymore. So I don't know. Maybe somebody bought it. They're saying MGM now owns it, so I don't know. Maybe. It was like that for the longest time with the Satanic Rites of Dracula. That was always considered to be a public domain movie many, many years. And then just one day, got taken off, said that, nope, not anymore. I thought once something went into the public domain, but I'll be honest, I don't know exactly how that works, but I always do check and recheck and recheck. So I don't know. Paul says, murderous mutant live under the stairs. Al says, I think there are 2 people horror movies. Huh? I don't know if I'm reading that wrong or if it just... Brad says, how's the chiller store coming along right now, Brian? Did you get anything done so far? I got a lot done. I took this last week off. I did a tremendous amount. Let's see, Al said, I think there are 2 people horror movies. 2 people horror movies. D says, People Under the Stairs is a Wes Craven movie, 1991. It's very cool. Yeah, I knew it was an older one. Not old, but older, oldish. PBR says, People Under the Stairs about 2 kids that break into a house that the couple is killing kids. SBC says, any 80s horror movies in the public domain? Yeah. And you'll be seeing, well, now I'm rethinking, redoing my math here. I think maybe I'm more in the 70s with some of these selections with the upcoming Chiller Night Theater. I'm not going to give them away yet. It'll be a total surprise. Total surprise, I say. Bonnet says, Popeye the Slayer Man is different from that other Popeye movie. I ain't seen the other Popeye one. After watching Slayer Man, I don't see me watching it. Paul says, since Tubi made a reboot of Manos, is that still a public domain movie? So far. I don't know. I mean, how many, we've had that out for several years, and even my prior show, Sleepy Hollow Theater, we had done a version of The Brain That Wouldn't Die, so. Bonus says, Ian's remember the Killer Baby movie, It's Alive, and its sequels? Killer Baby movie, It's Alive, and its sequels. Yeah. That sounds familiar, too. Can I remember a lot of it? No, evidently not. But that sounds familiar. Brett says, hey, Brian. Hey, Brett, thanks for joining us. What about Spider Baby, Paul says. Spider Baby. Always a good one. We were going to do, I was going to do that in the last couple runs of Chiller Night Theater, but don't be surprised if you might see it come up here kind of soonish. That's a good one. Brad says, you said you want to do horror films again this September. I just gave you a whole batch of public domain horror films, Brian. LOL. Yeah, you did, and even before that, I had a big list of at least 60 of them, so they'll last a while with what I had, and then the ones that you gave. Yep, and I appreciate that. Brad's always sending me, lists of public domain movies, and which I always appreciate. I always appreciate any type of interaction I get and any kind of support you guys give to me and to the show there. So Spider Baby was a good one, Paul. But it says PBR says, I'm so happy you're bringing Chiller Night back. I have loved Chiller Night for the longest time. Oh, I'm glad that I'm glad you did. Now I will say, I you know, we'll see occasionally. We might see some Jack Shadow in some capacity, but don't be surprised to see me all tuxed up, you know, and looking horror hosty-ish. I like that. I'm gonna claim that word. I made that. I invented that. So I'm just letting you know. Just letting you know. I think we'll have a fair little mix. But yes, yes indeed. Paul says, I agree, SBC. Thanks for your support. SBC says, Spider Baby is a must for Jack to host one day. Yeah. Yeah. He did before, way back in the day, back in the old Sleepy Hollow Theater days. D says, so far it looks like Driller Killer 1979 is public domain, right on the 80s cusp. Yeah, right on the spectrum there, right on the fence. Paul says, that kid really screwed me up. What? What for in Spider Baby? Brett says, so what's new or upcoming to the store? I have, well, right now, I mean, I'll do a little plug for the store. I think that's fair. Sure, why not? But if you're in Venango County, Pennsylvania, stop on into the Cranberry Mall to visit Chiller Night. Chiller Night, where you can come in and visit my store, where it's got T-shirts and Funko Pops and Bendy Figs. I've got Star Wars. I've got Godzilla. I've got Dracula. I've got movie poster canvas prints, candies, and in their own little horror tins. It's pretty cool, actually. And of course, we have escape rooms. We have the Witching Hour. And we have Zombie Outbreak. Now, both of these are 1-hour escape rooms. If you think you can do it, if you want to give it a try, call 814-209-8214. Or you can book online at chillernight.com. So there you have it. And of course, do you have any pictures of... Nope, I don't have any of the haunted house right now, but it is a coming. It is a coming, folks. Did I show the T-shirts yet? I've got T-shirts too. Let's see. D says Funeral Home 1980. Ah, Funeral Home 1980. I wonder if I can copy. Let me try something here. There we go. All right. I wasn't sure if I could copy and paste that without screwing something up, but I did. Stephanie says, I remember the Slumber Party Massacre and the Night of the Comet. Yeah. Tom says, hey, there's Tom. Welcome aboard. I have an idea for a horror movie starring olive oil. Well, I have a title. Oil of the Damned. Oil of the Damned. Okay. It's not sinking in. Why isn't it sinking in? I know this is it's a pun. All right. It'll hit me like at the end of the show probably. Stephanie says, just recently I saw Children of the Corn. Really? Like the original Children of the Corn. You've never seen it. I remember going to the theater to see that one. Paul says, what caused Jack to retire? What caused Jack to retire? Oh, bursitis, Tom says. um, I did have that in my knee. Remember that time back in 2020, I think it was. I was just getting ready to work out, and I, I just looked down. I didn't even nothing activated it, caused that. I just happened to look down right before I start. I thought, well, my leg feels a little weird. Look down, and my knee's like 3 times the size. So I thought that was weird. That's not what caused Jack to retire, though. It is the store, actually, Chiller Night, the store that I just got done promoting, is what kind of curtailed Jack's activity in the Chiller Night Theater arena. Just couldn't keep up with it all. Just couldn't do it. Brad says this will keep us busy with the public domain horror films until the big day in January 2027. Yeah, that'll take us right in there. Let's see. Bonus as well. I really wonder if we'll hear from Tom, Lasercorn, or Renee. Well, there's Tom. Renee, she believed in UFOs and aliens. Maybe she really did get abducted again. Maybe. You never know. I'd be curious to hear that story. Have you picked a name yet? How about Professor Erie? I remember you writing that last week. I don't know. I got it. Not yet. I haven't officially picked a name, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Doesn't it kind of look like a professor of something? I think. And like I said, there's kind of a reason where it kind of fits. I think it will be professor at least. We'll see. Paul says, thank you, Tom. How are you? And yes, Bryce, Spider Baby Kid. Yes, that's what I figured. Brad says, who knows? Maybe Jack will unretire to host a couple. I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would. I think he would do that for us. Tracy says, Godzilla, Gamera. Good movies? I would highly suggest you try it, Brett says. Oh, see now I better catch up because I'm getting a little bit behind, and then I'm missing. The delay is causing me not to know what we're referencing. So hey Hoagie, Bob says, hey, thanks for joining us, Bob. Let me jump ahead here. Also, Monster 1980 and Rehearsal for Murder 1982. D says. Okay, very cool, very cool. Okay, let me get caught up. So that I'm not so far behind you guys and take forever to respond to you. Tracy says, Wolfman Lon Chaney. Yep, Lon Chaney, and also Paul had mentioned Spider Baby, and Lon Chaney Jr., of course, is in Spider Baby. Night of the Comet is a great movie. It's a really fine book to boot, PBR says. Bonus says, Shazam, I remember that as a show and as Gomer Pyle's favorite saying, yeah, Shazam. Bob Books, Jack never retires. He only sleeps until next time. Hey Bob, you gotta check out. You gotta come on out to the store there and check out the Haunt, the edition. So I think you're gonna like it, and I want to run about an idea by you for your room this year. I think it'd be really cool if we could pull this off. Tracy says, Lost in Space Spider, Gilligan Spider. With all these spiders, so many spiders, Tracy. SBC says, how about an adult, A-D-U-A-L-T version of Manos? You mean adult? The HJ of Fate. Okay. Paul says, family, I need to go see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Stay safe out there. Love you, family. All right, Paul. Thanks for joining us. Brett says, I want to invite your audience to the fireworks on the 2nd. Oh, that's right. That's right. On the July 2nd at the Cranberry Mall, there's going to be a big to-do with fireworks. So if you're in that area, if you live in the Oil City, Franklin, even Clarion, I mean, stop on in at the Cranberry Mall. It's going to be a big event there. I'll be there. Ava and I and some of the folks from the haunted house will be setting up a booth and passing out some flyers so that people will know that the haunted house is coming in October. But it says, Brian, I'm always behind and confused on top of that, just to go with the feeling and it'll pass. Hey, that's what I do, and I'm totally irrelevant. What? No. Impossible Dream, Gomer Pyle. Oh, I remember that episode when Jim Neighbors, of course, plays Gomer Pyle, sang that. Really, really good voice, huh? Bob says, I can't wait, looking forward to all of it. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot of fun this year. I really do. Brad says, who knows, maybe some horror films for 1930 in January 2026. Maybe show some horror films for 1930 in January 2026. Well, maybe. I can't say we won't. But it says, Big Ass Spider was really good. Was a really good spider movie. Funny as you know what too. All right. Tracy says, Eight-Legged Freaks. Raymond says, Night of the Comet had Andy Warhol superstar Mary something Polish. There was one of the cheerleader girls, one of the blonde girls who used to like my comments on Twitter for the Chiller Night, and then somebody hacked the page and I lost all of it. But I can't remember her name. But she seemed pretty friendly. Seemed to like quite a bit of the stuff I was posting, and I'd like some of her posts, and it was just kind of cool. I almost, when I was doing Chiller Chat, I was feeling comfortable enough to actually invite her to be a guest, like over the phone, to be a guest on Chiller Chat. Maybe someday, maybe. If I ever start that back up, I'd like to. When all this passes, when I get everything built, everything has to be built. I thought last year after the haunted house, but I still sat there thinking, there's more I can do with this. I got more space. In fact, do I have any pictures? Do I have the haunt crew? Okay, right there in that area right there. That whole area is not there anymore. I mean, the area is, the floor is still there and the walls, but that is completely closed in. There is no more room at all in that haunted house. And that wasn't a bad sized little area. You're just seeing a little bit of it for that picture, but there was actually, I did a birthday party in there, and they had like 30 people. So, and tables set up, chairs, and so, but that can't happen no more because it's all filled in. So we'll see. Stephanie says, how about the thing from another world? I would love that. But it's not public domain. Let's see. It is a great concept, Raymond said. Brad says, Brian, I have a good feeling about showing new public domain horror films this September. Me too. Bonus is, speaking of spiders, I'm passing along best wishes and salutations from Miss Glam Fang. She's thinking of Williams. Oh, that's very cool. Well, tell her we said hello. We miss her. PBR says, wow, you had a member of the cast from Night of the Comet. That is so cool. Well, I didn't. I actually didn't. I'm just saying, like, just on social media, just liking back and forth. Let me see if I'd recognize her name. Night of the Comet cast. Kelly Maroney. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. Like she seemed cool on social media, so I don't know if she would ever, do any interview show like that. But who was this blonde? I'm guessing that might be who I was referring to. So, um, like I say, I didn't message her or nothing like that. She just was like frequently liking the content, so she seemed pretty cool. Um, let's see. Ronan says, now that's a classic, Miss Stephanie, both the original and John Carpenter's version. Oh, yeah, for the thing? Yes. SBC, empty space is a waste. I like that. Brett said, better things to come. Yes, I agree. Tracy says, once bitten. Yeah, and whatever happened to, now we had a twice shy, Tracy says. John says, how about showing Kaltiki, the Mortal Monster, or the Flesh Eaters for showing on Children's Theater? The Flesh Eaters, I think I looked into that at one point. I don't have my list here. I have like a list of them. They're at the store because that's usually, if I'm sitting at the counter, that's usually when I can kind of take a few minutes and look through that stuff. So, but if that's the one I'm thinking of, I would like to show that one. But Kaltiki, the Mortal Monster. I've not seen that one, John. Or I don't remember seeing that. I can't ever say I haven't because I'm an old Chiller Theater viewer and fan. So I saw so much that I can't specifically remember. But sometimes little things come back to me. Brad says, Brian, what's the first public domain horror film you're about to show this September? You haven't got to that yet. Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Patience. Bonehead says, you just did tell her, Brian. Thanks, she'll enjoy that. I know she said she really misses everybody in the show a lot. Oh, that's cool. Kind of real time right there, huh? That's neat. SBC says, Jack has to invite someone from the cast of the best movie of all time, Manos. All right. You guys behave yourself. No promises. Brett says, have a great night, everyone. All right, Brett, thanks for joining us. You too. PBR says, check out if Kolchak is in the public domain. I can tell you already it's not. I wish it were. All the episodes are up on YouTube. Yeah, but there's stuff on YouTube that I don't know exactly how they get away with it because there's stuff on there that shouldn't be. But I tell you what, I don't know. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how some of this stuff gets on there, but Jeepers Creepers, Tracy says. Bonin says, show a really terrifying and scary horror movie, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Toxie, Tracy said. Toxie? Not familiar with that one, Tracy. Oh, hey, I wanted to mention I have these sponsor logos here for this year for Jack Shadow's House of Terror. We'll be having Stream TV. They're gonna really help us out this year, and I appreciate all their help that they've. I appreciate them showing the content that we've had for all this time, all these years, but they're really going to give me a lot of help this year in sponsoring the haunted house, and also for you who live in the Cranberry, Pennsylvania area and Venango County, Pennsylvania, for your car connection. They're they are right across the street on 322 from the Cranberry Mall. So they're basically my neighbors. I could throw a stone and hit them, but I won't because they're nice enough to sponsor us this year for for Jack Shadow's House of Terror. So I wanted to give a shout out to them, and really appreciate that. And I will say this: I got more room on here. So we'll see about getting more sponsors as time goes on. Maybe we'll have to make these logos a little smaller and fit more on here. Or maybe we'll just start stacking them up over on this side of the screen. But, you know, a lot of people might think it's early, but for me, I'm actually wondering how the heck I'm going to get it all done in time. And I'm so happy that I took a week off. That was my vacation. My summer vacation was building the haunt. You know, doing construction all week long. Got a lot done. I got a lot of stuff done that needed to get done before I could do other things like hooking up, painting and stuff. So I'm really happy with what I was able to get done. But if I hadn't got that done like last week, I would really be nervous right now because there is so much that I'm trying to do. It's not just to get the haunted house ready, it is getting the display haunt ready. And that I've never done before. I've never done that. So that is a new endeavor that I've never tried. I've thought about it, but I've never been in the position to actually go forward with it. So we're gonna get that display haunt up and running. That means basically a year round haunt. That doesn't mean actors year round. That means a display haunt. Basically, you're walking through almost like a horror museum type of, you know, that kind of gives you an idea what I'm talking about. Be some limited interaction, like maybe a light and you know, and sound effects come on when you trigger an invisible beam or that type of thing, and you know, and numerous areas of the haunted attraction. So that is something that I'm working on. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, take your time, Brian. They say it's all worth the wait. Brad says, yes, exactly. Bonus says, don't let YouTube know that they're already anal any pain worse than hemorrhoids. YouTube is ruining YouTube. Yeah. I heard a rumor that they're going to make Dracula and Frankenstein public domain soon. Yeah. Yeah, you know, if only somebody could tell us. Is this true? And if so, when? I'm looking at you, Brad. Brad, speaking of Brad says, I thought Two Cousins Pizza are good neighbors of yours for sponsors, Brian. Yeah. I do all. That's where I eat every Saturday. That's the only thing. That's the only thing open anymore. And they're actually leaving the Cranberry Mall, so they actually found another location nearby. It's not that far, but they're moving out of the mall and putting up their own building. So good on them. Ava says, Ava's now you're on YouTube. Okay, is it just Pennsylvania, or is everyone else having bad weather? And October will be here too soon. Yes, it will. I know, Pennsylvania is just, it's not fun at all this summer. I mean, it's just like, if you see the sun out, hurry, get under it, absorb it, because in 10 minutes it won't be there anymore. It will be raining. But it says, so Brian, maybe you convince Jack Shadow to come out of retirement in Florida to host those two movies whenever they become public domain, eh? LOL. Maybe. You never know. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Stephanie says. There you go. I think so. I think so. I mean, public domain, yeah. Ava says, hi, SBC. Bob says, replying to Patrick Priel, Don't Look in the Basement is the name of the movie. Yes. Stephanie says, The Black Cat, 1941. Yeah, I wish that was public domain. Oh, also, the last message is for Patrick. Yes. Night of the Blood Beast, Stephanie says. We actually have played Night of the Blood Beast on Chiller Night Theater. Every once in a while, you'll see it on the lineup. I don't think it was all that long ago. Of course, me and time is just I don't know. Could have been a year ago, and I'm thinking it was 2 weeks ago. Bonus says, I'm having thunderstorms down here in Texas, Miss Ava. Actually, it's cooling the place down. We're having 90 plus days here, and it's going to be worse come July. Ah, okay, so somebody's having hot weather. SBC says, it's warm and pleasant here. Okay. Over in Germany, huh? I can't even say, like, I find it to be, like, if I'm sitting out, like, if I have time to sit on the porch and have a cigar, I'm freezing by the time that, because it normally takes, like, it's nothing for that to take you, like an hour and a half, 2 hours for, good cigar. And I'm freezing by then. Ava says, they say there's thousands of UFOs above the clouds, LOL. It must be true if TikTok is saying it. Yes. If TikTok is telling you that, listen, yeah, that's what they're doing. They're causing the cloud cover, so they could just fly around and don't have to turn on their stealth technology. Save some energy, It's good thinking on their part, certainly is. But I wish they'd stop that because I'm tired of all the rain. Brad says, well, at least you still have Stream TV as a main sponsor for the chiller store, Brad. Yes, they are, they work with me so well, and I appreciate that. Ava says, I'd love 90 plus degree weather. Yeah, me too. That'd make a nice pool day. Tom says, Brian, what's the movie featuring the monster carpet? The Creeping Terror. Remember that one? That was one of our live ones. If you remember that, the Creeping Terror was one of our chiller night. Friday, we were calling them Friday Night Frights, and that's when Jack Shadow did it most. But then I would come in just to keep the show going for a little bit, and those were a lot of fun. I wonder, now the only problem with doing these in September and October is I'm not going to be able to do live shows. So maybe after October. The only problem with that is I know how I am after October. After October, I'm ready to like hibernate for November and December. I really am. Like I'm mentally and physically, I'm so drained. I wish I could plan things for like those 2 months, but I really am. Like I'm really like if I could hibernate, if I could just close my eyes and wake up on January 1st, I'd be okay with that. Well, no, I'd miss Christmas and Thanksgiving. Well, wake me up for those, but Stephanie says, I love fall and winter. Yeah, I guess I grew up in Northwest Pennsylvania, so I wasn't always here, but I have such, I love something about each one of the seasons, Cat people, Tracy says. Look out, Miss Ava, Bonehead says. Them UFOs can be deadly, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm confused. Yes. Okay. Bonehead says the Creeping Terror or carpet. Either or, they'll both do. Yes. Creeping Terror. But even though the movies might be a little hard to watch, those episodes are the most fun for me to actually do is live episodes. I just enjoy those. I hope that I get into position someday to where I can actually do the Chiller Night Theaters live. Like that's a thing. Like that's how the show is. I would love that. And Chiller Chat. That'd be cool. If I could really set up some nice equipment and have a regular like podcast type of thing going on here. D says, yes, to carpet and garbage bag menace. Yeah. But it says, do a dead show. This is horror, you know, LOL. Yeah, instead of a live one, I hear you. I feel you. Tracy says, walk to store in morning. Sweated getting home. Oh, it's muggy, huh? Too humid. Brad says, well, at least we're keeping you busy, Brian. Yep, keeping me off the streets there. Keep me out of trouble. Bonnet says, I fall in the winter. Of course, I fall all year long. Fall? In the winter. SBC says, I like snow in winter, only around Christmas time. Yeah, me too. Bonnet says, I wish upon a falling star. Yeah, okay. Hopefully it's not any of those UFOs. I think I just saw one. Disguised cleverly, devilishly cleverly, as a falling star. Please don't feel me, I'm allergic, Bonnet says. I do love the snow in winter around Christmas time. It just brings back all the good childhood memories of. We live next or near, not too far from a place called Oil City, and now Oil City, when I was growing up, I mean the sidewalks around Christmas, like I'm talking Christmas time, when there's snow everywhere. You know, I'm talking like early 70s, maybe into the mid 70s. It was like something out of a Norman Rockwell painting. That's exactly. Even if you see the old pictures of Oil City, that's what it looks like. And it was just that's where my mind goes. You know, that and growing up, having happy, merry Christmases. You know, and good family life. And that's what brings me back to the Chiller Night stuff. You know, watching Chiller Theater, and that's why I do this. And I think there's a fun to it, you know, and like I said, I've said this many times, I hope that I can just have a little bit, you know, share a little bit of that experience with today's viewers, especially the kids growing up. I'd love to know that someday some kid, you know, 30 years from now is saying, I remember growing up watching Jack Shadow hosting Chiller Night Theater. I would love to know that has happened. Bonnet says, you're right, Brian. I actually did see that UFO flying around behind up above you. I'll be doggone. Yeah. I see them every once in a while. The dark domain of Jack Shadows doesn't just have werewolves or zombies, you know, vampires. They have UFOs flying around, trying to kind of encapsulate the whole chiller feel with the background here, Jack Shadow's castle, and a little horror, a little sci-fi, mostly horror. Brad says, good night, everybody. Remember, Dracula and Frankenstein, yes, everybody remember, are coming to the public domain in January of 2027. I think I made that perfectly clear. Good night, everybody. Yes, thank you, Brad. Thanks for joining us. Don't touch dead things, Tracy said. All right, that's good advice. Might be a good title to a movie as well. But even if it weren't, it just sounds like good sound advice. Bonnet says, there we go. Thanks, Brad. Now I know. See you next week. Yep, there you go. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. I didn't even know. Okay, we'll have to put a cap on this. Tom says, those Nova Scotia winters cursed me out of snow nostalgia. I'm good with green or even brown Christmases. Ah, okay. I can see that. I can see that. Let's see. SBC Bonehead is a duck and cover Bonehead with this political stuff. It could also be a nuclear missile. Well, hopefully not from us. Bonehead says, SBC, yes, you're right. Thanks for the heads up. John says, this has been Chiller Night Live with Bryan Hogue for another Tuesday night. This is Crozak the Grand reminding you that next week is the official 50th anniversary of Jaws. And why we're afraid of going to the beach. Let's celebrate this next week. Until then, stay chilled and keep thrilled. What a perfect thing to celebrate. D says, see you next Tuesday, Chiller Night Crew. Yeah, see you, D. Thanks for joining us. John, thank you for the closing there. Al says, good night, everyone. SPC, good night, everyone. Watch old movies and stay healthy. Stay healthy, and I'll add, stay happy. See you next week. Absolutely, SPC. Thank you. Bonus says, thanks again, everyone, for another great show. See you all next week. Thanks, Brian. Yes, you are welcome. Thank you for joining me. Night call, Tom says. Night all. Night all. Raymond says, good night. Bonus says, good night, Chiller Night Crew. Brian and Miss Ava, see you next week. Yes, good night, everybody. Thank you for joining me and each other for another Chiller Night Live. Now, have a good night. Have a good Chiller Night. We'll see you next Tuesday.